to be able to just win, the standard way, but like, I don't know. As they say in sales, hope is not a strategy, and I feel like they're just hoping. I mean, think of how much money that they spent against Mondani. They put together like what, $20 million or something. Like, really, in this moment, you got $20 million to fight Mondani, but you don't have any money. Like, what the hell? It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly, it's priorities. And people aren't stupid. They see that, like you said, it's like, it's kind of like, miss me with it. You really care about the bigger picture. Obviously, I mean, like you said, what do you have to lose? Everything, by not doing anything, you totally lose everything. So, I don't understand. But it's to me, it just speaks fear. It's given like they're just scared or something. They don't want to.
It's also not just that. It's also just they clearly have primary motivation, and their secondary motivation is to speak to the people. And whether that primary motivation is their own power, or it's the power of their patrons, or whatever it might be, they don't know who they stand for and who they stand with, and it shows. Like, it's the easiest thing for a human being to pick up on. Like, we know it intuitively. Like, it's part of our survival instinct. Like, when someone's trying to sell you a bill of goods, like, we all develop that sixth sense over time. Because if we don't, we're constantly getting worked and exploited. So, when you show up and you're inauthentic and you don't, say what you believe in, people pick up on that so easily. And they think that they can just, a lot of these people, right? I'm talking about a certain part of the party. They think they can just sort of get away with it and do this whole, who else you're going to vote for thing. And it just, like, how many times do you have to either, like, win by the skin of your teeth against an opponent that you should crush, or just, like, lose to someone you never should have lost to before you understand that, like, it's you're the problem. Like, you need to do something about this. I mean, like, how many times do you have to fail in the same way? And I've been watching this since, Al Gore in 2000. It's painful.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, bro. We need a movement in this country. We need a movement that can meet the new dynamic in our country, right? Democratic Party is in disarray. Whatever remnants of the Republican Party that are left, they're in disarray, right? Right? So you got that segment. MAGA is now in charge. MAGA, the political MAGA is now at the head of this country. That whole movement, and we need to have a movement that opposes that, a movement that skillfully integrates people from all walks of life, from all types of background, that really understand it. Because imagine if the people who really understood this, what's going on in this country, had a home, had a place to go. We don't have that right now. I mean, you can stick with the Democratic Party, but its ineffectiveness is well known, right? So far they really haven't, in all these last 6.5 months or wherever we are, they have just shown that they are inept at really, really stirring the hearts of America. The No Kings protest, that's a tip of the iceberg of what is possible in our country. But I mean, people have to stand up. We have to understand, and it's got to be we the people. Maybe that could be the name of the movement, we the people. I don't know, but this shit cannot continue to go on. I mean, it's absurd at this point.
Yeah, it seems to me to be a strategy of blocking stuff. No kings, opposed to pro this. You know what I'm saying, Your Honor? Robert, whoever else may be listening in. Where's the pro this program? And even Donald Trump, when he studied, he had to pretend like he wasn't with the 2025. He had to act like he didn't know anything about it. And then coincidentally, like when you look at this big, beautiful bill and put the 45 on top of it. You see, you see the
You hear
overlap.
this shit, Midas? You
But,
think these motherfuckers are gonna fix anything?
But to not have a pro plan,
Fucking fakes,
especially when
all of them. Bunch of
say,
liars,
in the Democratic,
scammers,
in a
propaganda.
very nice way, in a Democratic
Bingo.
system, you've got two sides at least. Could be 3, 4, 5 sides, different parties, but you gotta have at least two. But so you gotta have enough of a real competitor to in order for the thing to really operate efficiently and look out for the best interests and have to fine tune itself in a good way. You have to have a noteworthy competitor. So therefore I go to something that we all just saw, basketball, NBA, for those that follow that. If you don't have a team that can stand up to the other team, and you're watching it just 140 to 20 is the final score. That's not what's happening in the NBA. But in this regard, when you come back to the political competition, it's like where's the energy to match that energy that's coming? And that energy is pedal to the metal, full-throated Supreme Court justices. But man, it's damn near just make a whole new constitution type thing, in front of our eyes here. And so, like you said something, Your Honor, that I see a lot of truth in, where different, maybe not even in a political sense, but different leaders in this 330 million population are going to show up for sure. Regionally or whatever, even if it's not in the political sense. What are your thoughts?
Wow, that was deep. But I think we are in agreement. So the question becomes, because this movement can't take place on Clubhouse, it's got to take place another way. It's got to be a groundswell. My role, what I've been doing, is just utilizing my social media platforms to promote, this is not a drill concept, because I think a lot of people just think that this is going to go away. They think it's a test. They it's like, no, action has to happen. Action has to happen. You allow a snake to be a snake, it's going to bite you. It's going to bite you. There's no niceties about it. Like, you have to respect the fact that this is and I'm not saying he's a snake, but when you have a danger that's an obvious danger, you have to prepare yourself. A couple of things to avoid that or eliminate it, because eventually the only thing it's going to do, the eventuality of the reality is quite evident. If we keep going in this direction, we now, in light of what has happened, we now have an idea of the direction of where we're going. Before, it was, how do you know it's going to be bad? Oh, give him a shot, right? That was the rhetoric during the campaign. Well, now, instead of Mr. Trump subsiding from some of his outlandish claims during his campaign, he's actually executing them. Right? The infrastructure has been set. The infrastructure was in place all of these years. And so now, in his second term, he's able to leverage that infrastructure, starting with the Supreme Court and countless other people in this country that have been strategically put in position so that when it comes to legislation, when it comes to rolling out the agenda, their agents are in place. And so I say to, in particular, Democratic, what if y'all been doing all these years? Like, does it really take this long to respond? Like, and how could you be caught this off guard? Like, this off guard? I can understand but golly, like, they are just really struggling to galvanize. And so people have been asleep at the wheel. Maybe they can participate in this new movement, but we need this new movement that I speak of. It's got to come from the ground up. I don't have all the answers, but I do think that you are right. We have to work in unison. With the recent NBA championship, which is a simple metaphor, you had a group of young people that had never achieved that level of success. And they didn't worry about Anybody else, the team focused on each other. They knew what the plan was. They stayed focused, and they were able to achieve greatness. And that's what it's got to be. We black folks, I understand we got a whole lot of problems, but we can't be stymied by these community stripes and beefs and all of that stuff. It just seems like, this app is just run rampant with that at this point. It's like people just keep asking why, and nobody is taking time out to go and study and read and learn and develop. Like, they're just not doing it, obviously, because if you were doing that, you would see less of these type of rooms. You would see less of this vitriol. You would absolutely unequivocally see less of it. But yeah, so at some point people got to pull back and sharpen this. So there's and I'll land with this. There was a old lumberjack and a new lumberjack. New lumberjack comes in, muscular, great body, built physique, all that, in the prime of his youth. And each day, the older lumberjack would come back with a higher ratio of wood. And the guy would go out, the young guy would go out every day and work real hard, right? And one day he finally asked the OG, he's like, OG, how do you do this? Like, I'm strong, I got muscles, I work faster, but every day you come back with more lumber. He says, son, I take time out to sharpen my axe. Right? So we need to sharpen our axe. We got to sharpen our axe. We got to prepare our tools. We have to lay out we got to assess the terrain. You know what the terrain is. This is a fucking wild terrain. We have a president in charge that runs this country like a game show. He's putting pressure on the Senate to sign this by July 4th so that he can package that up into a promotional Independence Day. I got it signed. And the irony that signing by July 4th is contrary to our very fucking Constitution. Yet, he wants to rewrite history and make a claim that this bill is some type of liberation or declaration of independence from whatever is in his small mind. So these are the things that we're up against. We have to be more creative. We got to be more agile. We got to start. This ain't the time to get stuck. And we got to be agile. We got to have cognitive agility. That's what I'm saying. We got to have cognitive agility. When we see the bullshit, we call it, we assess it, boom, we move on. We see it, we call it, boom, we move on. And then we create a data bank of everything that we know is going down and what's going on, and then legally we get our lawyers and we get our legal, because that's what we need, powerful attorneys that really understand